Bases dropped on another week of soccer down here. John here, you there. I'm sorry about 907. I'm uploading things and trying to make sure that I did actually upload everything that I was trying to upload this morning. Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? I think I did. Okay. So it's another week of soccer down here. We know the playoffs. We know where folks are going. We know the spread outedness of the schedule. Is that a word? I think it is now. The spread outedness of the schedule. And I think what we're seeing, at least with the layout of the grid, is they're trying to turn it into like the NBA or the NHL. Morning, David. Morning, Alex. And we'll see how this we'll see how this plays. Atlanta United's got their schedule. Everybody else has their schedule. Bam. Good to see you this evening on your time. And so we'll go over all of it. We'll go over everything that you guys thought about the match. Ricky, midweek playoff games suck. Yeah, and there's going to be some. And we'll go over everything from the game this weekend. We'll go over everything from that's on your mind. And so we'll see where we go. I mean, Monday's a Monday. We know that Mondays are going to be Mondays. And it is going over numbers. It's going over stuff from the weekend. And it's laying everything out. But, you know, yeah, that's where we are. So, and Will Palaszczuk, Willie P. Style from Charlotte. Charlotte FC is going to join us at 10 o'clock. And we will go over Charlotte's moment of history. We actually have Charlotte's moment of history, courtesy of our friends at WFNZ. And we will go over all of that. And so it will be a stacked show. So it'll be a fun show. It'll be a stacked show, and we'll go at it as we always do. Traffic for the week. We will go. We'll go like this, and nothing like trying to fill out a timesheet at the same time that you're trying to lay everything out and go. All right. So. All right, so I'm gonna have to do a little business here. And anyway, traffic that we have on the day. We have traffic on the week. What am I saying? Traffic on the week. Traffic this week. Once again, we'll have our USL Championship stuff, and that's going to be opening kickoff. By the way, we'll go into more in depth as we go later this week. But we will go into opening kickoff, and that will be USL Championship. And we'll talk about what happened there. But our friends from the USL show will join us on Thursday, as we have projected now that every single time that there's going to be a playoff game, that you're going to have a visit from our friends at the USL show, and that's going to be hanging around with us every single Thursday, as long as there are playoffs, and we will continue to roll from there with them. We'll have all of our programming that we traditionally have on your Tuesdays, where we look at USL League One, where they're down to the Final Four. We'll talk about USL Championship with all of that stuff, and we will catch up with all of them with MLS Next Pro. We've got a champion there as well. And it was Austin FC 2, Los Verdos. And so we have it's not Crew 2. Crew 2 did not go back-to-back. So it was Los Verdos. Jack Gurr, Sacramento Republic. We'll discuss about that. Yes, Niall, we'll get into Golden Boot. And Bam and Niall are going at it this morning about Golden Boot. Gigi's got more goals than Bouanga if we don't count penalties. And, Jack Gurr and the Sacramento Republic. MVP candidate from our friends at the USL show. Yeah, it was the pre-court bowl. There were questions, Ricky, during the week from the folks in the media. It's like, so in Columbus specifically, hey, so did you think about this? Did you think about Anthony Precourt? Did you think about this and what was going on there? So it was intriguing there as well. But it's another week, and so we welcome in Jarrett Smith. Jarrett, good morning.
Good morning, John.
We will be going into opening kickoff this morning, and it will be a discussion about the USL Championship. Like I said, we're going to have our friends from the USL show, Kaylor Hodges, and he's trying to get Morrissey out from pursuing another PhD, so Morrissey can join. But Kaylor will be with us on Thursday, and we'll discuss everything in the USL Championship. But our opening kickoff brought to us by
USL Championship was like blackout drunk this weekend.
Yes, and that's why we're going to go into it opening kickoff. So that's opening. It will be opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code for those of you who are watching on Facebook. Or actually, no, on the 280 character app on Twitch and on YouTube. So we decided to go live on YouTube starting this Monday. So that's
I noticed that because usually I can see the comments and usually I can't comment back to people. But now it asks me, do I want to chat through YouTube? Like the answer is no. God no. Man, no. But I do like that it's more interactive. Hi everybody.
Yes. Hello. So once again, use the code Soccer Down Here 15, and you get 15% off your purchase, and they in turn take 10% reinvested into the youth game and youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So USL Championship was blackout drunk, is what you're saying.
Eastern Conference was especially, I believe, of the Eastern Conference games, only one of them was chalk, and that was who was it who just said that?
It was a
Charleston hung a touchdown on the Indy 11, because you had, and this is a Kaylor Hodges discussion. These ears are burning. The most inconsistent, maddening Birmingham Legion team possible. Roll into Tampa and drop a 3-0 nuke on the Rowdies. You had Detroit City go beating the Riverhounds, who, man, look, the Riverhounds for me going into this was like, it was the Riverhounds to lose.
Yeah.
They were so complete.
Yeah. But then Kaylor said Detroit City could be a team that could really muck it up for Bob.
Yeah. And they can. I mean, they can just make it ugly, and they can drag you down into the muck, and all of a sudden you're in a fight where the winner is the one who comes up and the bubbles don't stop for. And for Detroit City, it was them. Yeah. And then you had what I thought was the most fun of those matches was Memphis and Lou City, which was, it's a 4-5.
Yeah.
But it was a really fun match. Like, Memphis scored in the first minute. Lou City scored in like the 20th minute. And then it was kind of like this chess match and stalemate back and forth.
Yeah.
Where Memphis was the better team in the second half and in the extra time. But Lou City held strong. They did what you have to do, man. They went on the road. They held strong.
See, now our Memphis fans are getting mad at Jarrett.
Aiden McFadden. But, okay, you got me now?
Yes, you do. You changed cells.
Okay, thanks. So like, Lou City holds on, does what you have to do on the road. You're getting the home team is better than you on the road. Okay, get in line. That happens in the playoffs. Lou City held the line, didn't give up a goal, got up to penalties, and both teams went 4 for 4 post with this penalty, and Memphis is knocked out. Lou City, as the 5 seed goes on, like I said, I mean, it's an upset on the numbers.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was, and seeing John's stuff at USL Tactics, I think the numbers on that were like that. If you wanted an upset, that was the one to look at because those teams were pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. And
styles make fights. But I hated that for Aiden so much. Because he's worked his ass off for the last few years. With Atlanta United too, and goes over to Memphis as part of a playoff team, gets that opportunity, and knowing the kind of person Aiden is, I think he'll fuel him going forward. I just hate it for him because in those situations where it's just good, back and forth, you're like, man, somebody's gonna miss one of these because it wasn't getting saved.
No,
he got the keeper going the wrong way. And so, like, somebody's eventually just going to miss one of these. And unfortunately, Aiden did. And, God, I hated that for the kid. And, Memphis is a pretty tight-knit team, I think, with the moves they've made this year. And I think they'll be able to pick him up. And I part of me expects him to stay in Memphis long term. I don't know. That's a question more for John and Kaler. Um, but I would wonder if he stays there long term and tries to make his way in USL there to see if he can maybe take that jump beyond USL.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to kind of compartmentalize that one because it sucks. It sucks for him and it sucks for Memphis, but for Lou City, Danny Cruz taking him through the next round. And man, the East is wide ass open, and it's like Ben Pierman and Charleston's the only one like sitting there at the 3 seed, kind of looking around like, huh. It's kind of like that scene in, I think it's the Hercules movie, where Ian McShane keeps talking about how it's his destiny to die. And repeatedly through the movie, he keeps putting himself in harm's way and he doesn't die. Like at one point, there's a barrage of arrows and he stands there with his arms outstretched, waiting because that's his destiny. And the arrows just all miss. It's kind of Charleston looking around at all of the carnage. Meanwhile, they went chalk on Indy.
Yeah. So in the East, the 8 beats the 1. Detroit City beats Pittsburgh. Bob Lilly's probably still yelling. No one is allowed to leave Highmark until Bob Lilly says so. Then Lou City and PKs beats Memphis. So round 2, upper right-hand corner, is the 8 and the 5. Low right, you mentioned Charleston is chalk, knocking off Indy and thumping them and knocking them into this week. Then Tampa loses to Birmingham. The 8, the 5, the 3, and the 7. That's what you've got in the East. It's a little better in the West. Sacramento knocked off New Mexico United. Jack Gurr, once again, the MVP candidate of our friends at the USL show. Get the 1, they advance. San Antonio and Colorado Springs in the 4-5 street fight that we anticipated it was going to be. So the 1 and the 4, you got chalk, and that's a hell of a matchup in a semifinal in the East, in the Western Conference, Sacramento and San Antonio. Phoenix, as the 6, beats San Diego. So Phoenix, you take the over in that one. You did well. Phoenix knocks out San Diego, and then Orange County wins as the 2 seed. So it's the 1, the 4, the 2, and the 6. You almost had chalk in the West, but with Phoenix's win over San Diego Loyal, that's it for San Diego Loyal. They're done as a franchise.
Yeah. It went out with a bang, man. Like that game was drunk, but
yes.
It's going to be very interesting to see now that the Loyal, and man, I don't know how to phrase this because I don't mean this in a mean way to the Loyal at all.
Yeah.
Now that the Loyal aren't going to be literally top of mind all the time because now that they don't function,
right?
I really want to see how FC San Diego takes advantage of that space.
Yeah.
The Loyal will never die in a lot of people's hearts and minds, and that's fine. But they're not on the field going forward. How can San Diego, the new MLS side, take advantage of that?
Yes.
And can they do it effectively? And can they do it in a way that's, man, God forbid this analogy, but it's coming. I'm not here to replace your dad, bud.
Yes. You're not my father.
Can they fill a void in the hearts and minds of people while also not pushing out the memories of San Diego Loyal and their wonderful crest? Because that FC San Diego crest ain't it, y'all.
No.
Get back to the drawing board on that one.
Oh boy.
It might have been okay if you didn't have Loyal rolling out with a really good crest every week. But when people already have it in their heads, right or wrong, that you are pushing out the team that they know, and then you roll out with that, they just gonna be mad.
Yes. So, yeah. Ricky, crest is fine. Name is bare minimum when it comes to our new friends at San Diego FC. And
yeah, man. And to Ricky's point, I remember Silverbacks fans too getting real upset with Atlanta United when they came online. Man, that late stage NASL, it wasn't the same animal as USL is right now.
No.
In terms of a functioning league, and feel like the good days of Silverbacks ended in like what 13,
Yeah,
14?
I'd probably say with the 9 gazillion people that were watching the game from the 285 off ramp as they were trying to park.
Yeah, like I think it was 13 was Soccer Bowl, and like those were good times.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Loyal I feel like it's different because the Loyal are going out like at their at a really peak popularity and having a lot of attention. How does I agree the name is also very lazy, but at this point I just
and they
expect
actually do have an Albion in San Diego. They do have Albion SC, and they play in another low division, and they're based there in that Southern California part. So.
At least they didn't do like San Diego Rangers or something. I mean, although that would have been different.
Yes, it would have.
I'm still not over the fact that like SKC that Spork. I'm still not over that they went away from Swope Park Rangers. That was solid.
Yeah, it was.
That was very annoying. But yeah, how does this new club fill that void now that the Loyal are not on the field? Because the Loyal are going to stay in some folks' hearts and minds. Some folks longer than others.
Yes,
out of spite, if nothing else. And look, as Atlanta sports fans know, spite can power a lot of machinery.
Yes, it can. Because, yes, remember, with our friends at San Diego FC, the crest embodies the county's 4 principal virtues, as identified in months of community meetings, focus groups, and lengthy surveys: gratitude, proud, not loud, diversity, and a state of flow. The flow, an explainer quoted by The Athletic says, symbolizes how we perform at a peak level while embracing San Diego's unique rhythm of life.
Well, you know how a tide works, right, San Diego?
In, out.
In, out. Up, down.
Why
I would have had so much more fun if the crest had just been like a sea line standing on a pier and honking at a tourist as they ran away terrified.
Where's my food? Yeah, it's like your food's my food now. Why do I have this vision of Sean Spicoli as their spirit animal?
Where's Nick when I need him? Because the other idea is like San Diego's logo is just some like kid who joined the military station in San Diego and just bought a Charger for like 18%.
Oh, not wrong. So that's where we are with pouring one out for San Diego early on a Monday morning. You know, if you're into breakfast drinking, that's what we're doing right now on the West Coast. You know, we're pouring one out for San Diego Loyal. And if it wasn't out of range of walking away from this headset, I would show you the San Diego Loyal scarves that I picked up recently to add to the collection. I know you're shocked. But no, the opening kickoff, we wanted to pour one out for USL Championship. Hell of a weekend. And wanted to specifically pour one out for our friends at San Diego Loyal. Just remember, San Diego FC, gratitude, proud, not loud, diversity, and a state of flow. Yeah. Now all I need is LA Knight. USL League One's down to the Final Four, and the 1 and the 2 got to watch everybody else. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. They reseed. Charlotte and Greenville played. Charlotte and Greenville played, and Charlotte advanced, knocking off Greenville Triumph. Then Northern Colorado beat Forward Madison. So instead of, on the left-hand side of the bracket, the 1 playing the 3 and the 2 on the right-hand side playing the 4, you get the 1 playing the 4 and the 2 playing the 3 in the semifinals.
Perish the thought.
So Charlotte plays Union Omaha, the Murder Owls. I'm guessing that's going to be at Warner Park in Papillon, Nebraska. And Northern Colorado travels to North Carolina FC to take on the team at Wake Med. So that's your USL League One and your USL Championship redo. The Eastern Conference is drunk. 8-5-3-7. Where's Jenny when you need her? So that's your opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. And there is the QR code for those of you who are watching on the platforms that we're watching on. on the YouTube, on the Twitch, and on the 280-character app. So don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. Thanks to everybody who has been using the code SoccerDownHere15. They, in turn, take 10% after you've applied your discount, and they will take 10%, meaning our friends at Kickoff Coffee, and reinvest it into youth games and youth initiatives brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So how was your weekend?
It was busy, man. Barely had time to do anything.
Yeah, and decision day.
Literally was like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So I caught up with just enough sports to be functional.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with that.
This was a very busy weekend.
Yes. And so decision day was what decision day was. And it was your standard half-past crazy trying to keep up with math and all that other kind of stuff. So you had all the Eastern Conference kicks at 6 o'clock. You had all the Western Conference kicks at 9 o'clock. The one that mattered to folks here in the footprint, at least for the next 32 minutes, it was Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. Will Palaszczuk, play-by-play voice of Charlotte FC, is going to join us at 10 o'clock. We'll catch up with Willie P. about the moment of history that happened at B of A. And we will actually play that moment of history courtesy of our friends at WFNZ. Columbus beat Montreal by the final of 2-1. Red Bulls beat Nashville 1-0. New England beat Philadelphia 2-1. NYC over Chicago Fire 1-0. Orlando beat the Purple Team. Everybody beat the Purple Team this year 2-0. And Charlotte beat Inter Miami 1-0. Then you have Atlanta and Cincinnati. Your lineup, first choice for Atlanta United. And the game was about as bonkers as we anticipated that it was going to be. So let's get into the highlights. And we've got a couple of different versions of how folks were listening to the game and getting their highlights and getting all of the information that they were getting. So early on, Atlanta United gets the first goal on the board. Flip a coin, Jarrett. Which version do you want to hear first? Do you want to hear Kevin Patrick's version, or do you want to hear Mike and Jason?
Let's go KP.
All right, so here's the Kevin Egan. It was Kevin and Kendra at TQL. Here's how they called the first goal of the match, courtesy of our friends at MLS and Apple TV.
Abram in the central channel.
Unless, of course, that's Mike, and you hit the wrong button. So let's try this one.
Here's Luis Abram. Played 2 90-minute matches for Peru in World Cup qualifying. Finds Thiago Almada now. Almada to Sabalov-Janice. In on goal. Cuts it back for Giacomakis. Atlanta United lead in Cincinnati. Talk about a brilliant team goal.
Been right in the middle of the park, splitting the two holding mids for Cincinnati right there. Bobodo out of position. And Almada finds that little pocket of space. And what a run by Lodjanice. Saba just finds himself on the wrong side of Barrial and then unselfishly plays it across to find Giacomakis, who's completely unmarked by Mosquera. Just not a lot of things that went right for FC Cincinnati on that one. And that is well done by Atlanta United.
The Five Stripes carving Cincinnati apart. But there will be an inquest into the amount of space that Thiago Almada had when he picked up the ball. Almada.
All right, so that's one version down. Now, if I hit the mic button, and we can listen to how Mike and Jason called the first goal of the match. Once again, courtesy of our friends at Major League Soccer and 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app.
Abram in the central channel, and Abram will roll it down the middle. Wide open is Thiago Almada, who drives forward now. Ahead to Saba down the right wing, into the box. Saba, pass to Giacomakis, shot, score! Boom, Giacomakis! Atlanta United the early lead in the 12th minute. A beautiful team goal. Almada to Saba to Giacomakis. Abram in the center.
Stop pushing the button. It's a Monday. So Atlanta United's up 1-0, Jarrett, and everybody in the Twitch pitch and everybody who is commenting is saying, gorgeous team goal. They are not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, look, that starts with Luis Abram.
Mm-hmm.
And Luis Abram looks like the guy who was not going to get sold from Velez.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you went shopping down there back in the day, people wanted him, and he wasn't going.
Mm-mm.
He looks like that guy right now, which is a very good thing. Really impressive ball to play Thiago through. Thiago finds space, gets it out wide, cuts it back inside. And this is something I saw people talking about earlier. Like, I think Yorgos was tied with Boyanga for most non-penalty goals this year.
Yep.
And did it in a fraction of the minutes. Because my God, with the people next to him now,
yeah,
with the attacking power that you have, yeah, man, Gigi's gonna put up some numbers if he can get a full season next year.
Yeah. And so that was where we were early on. Atlanta United with a 1-0 lead. Then FC Cincinnati would come back and tie it at 1. Atlanta United not done at that point in the first half. So do you want to hear KP's version, or do you want to hear Mike and Jason's version first?
Switch up.
All right.
Mike and Jacob.
So here's Mike and Jason, once again, courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app and Major League Soccer, about how Atlanta United retook the lead. Let's see if I can hit the right button.
Bounces it down the right wing, Saba in the right attacking third. Dribble to the edge of the 18. Saba cuts it back now to Almada, right corner of the 18. Bouncing across Yakamaka, shot! Score! Golasso! Boom! Yakamakis again in the first half brace, and it's 2-1 Atlanta United. Bounces it down the...
He's on fire! I feel like that's the only thing that's missing in these things. You know, it's literally the more of the comments from NBA Jam as we go. So it's 2-1. That was the Mike and Jason version. So let's hear the Kevin and Kinder version, courtesy of our friends at MLS and Apple TV.
Wiley, Palaszczuk, Almada, Wobra with the press. So effective in midfield for Cincinnati.
But then the double has to come from the other side. He does so well to force it to the other side of the pitch. The double doesn't come.
Lobjanidze. Almada wide now. Whips it in for Yakimakis! Big Yorgos on the double tonight.
Wong has been fantastic. Well, he's got 2 on the night. This one takes a deflection on the way through. Unlucky, but it doesn't matter. He still puts it away. And how in the world does he get on the wrong side of Mosquera? Watch as this ball comes through. Lobjanidze once again. Being effective. Almada gets it on the boot. He drives it in, and Mosquera just lets him waltz in front of him, completely unmarked. He's on the backside of Miazga. He doesn't know he's there. And Mosquera, that's on him.
It was on him. 2-1. Cincinnati would come back 2-2. In the second half, Thiago Almada picks up a red card. He will not be available for match 1 of the opening round of the playoffs. And I know that Jason Nix has asked how Gonzalo Pineda will reorient things in the lineup when it comes to game 1 in Columbus. It will be interesting. It will definitely be interesting. You will be it'll be an interesting look, and the approach they'll work on it over the next 10 days or so and try to figure out how they want to appear the next week or so, and try to figure out how they want to appear. But you're going to be asking a lot from some guys that you haven't seen a whole lot from or a whole lot of in their particular roles. So that will be the elephant in the room for the next week as we get ready for match week number 1. Go for it, Jarrett.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I agree. I don't know how you build this going into Columbus, because without Almada, do you do the Lou City thing?
The Lou City thing.
Do you go on the road? You get what you can, and then you defend on the road.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm looking at. I think that at first glance, for me, it means that you're going to have Hosechu as your point guard in the midfield. Maybe you bring in Amar Sejdic to be a little bit more defensive, and so you defend on the road. Because remember, this is a best of 3. This is not a one and done. This is not the play-in round. This is not like how things have been in the past. We can get into the schedule as we go here and how they're very NBA and NHL-ish when it comes to the laying out of the playoff schedule. But do you go more defensive in the midfield? Do you try to navigate match 1 so you can get everything back in match 2, run Columbus out of the building in game 2. If you can get a result in the first one, fantastic. You close it out at home. Then if you try to navigate match 1, you come home, you slam the door in match 2, then you work for a third match and try to figure it out from there and see who can handle the pressure of a game 3. That's like literally that's how I was trying to process it, working my way through. Gonzalo Pineda post-match, he admitted it was stupid. He said it was a stupid foul. Quoting Gonzo, he kicked, I think it was Miazga maybe. I don't even know who it was. He kicked a defender, a stupid second yellow card. And after the match, he was asked about it. He says, it's never the goal of this franchise to tie a match, especially away. But the performance before the red card was very good to me. It was a playoff caliber performance. We dominated possession and total control. I wasn't happy, of course, with the 2 silly goals we conceded, but the performance overall was inspiring. We should have had more goals in the first half, but we didn't. Then we suffered at the end. It was 2 different games, really, when we were 11v11 and we were the better side. After that, in the 10v11, they had control, more territorial dominance. But what I do have to highlight from my team is that we didn't give up any goals when they had the numerical advantage. We defended very well, especially inside the box when we were a man down. It's part of the learning process. It's encouraging. Now we need to put the 2 parts together, the good football in the first half with the good defending inside the box in the second half. That's a good combination for the playoffs. Yorgos Giakoumakis, after the match, quote, he was asked about, he says, up until the moment of the red card, I think we destroyed them. We destroyed them up until that point. We created a lot more. We had control of the game. There was only one team on the field. Then we received the red card and the balance changed completely. We have to defend more. The important thing is that we reacted in a good way. We didn't let them score again. It's very important with a man down coming into the game. They were the champions, meaning Supporters Shield. They are where they are because they were the best team this season. We have to accept that. So coming into this stadium, playing against the first place team, and to put together this kind of performance, we should be proud. We should take positive things from this game and apply them in the playoffs and compete at this same level. This, to me, Jarrett, sounds like the words of a future C-wearing individual.
Yeah, it does. But, I mean, that's what they did. They went in. They played a team that had beaten them on their own field in a game where they got out of sorts. They stayed in sorts. And honestly, a game like that wasn't man, you don't want to lose a guy to a red, especially Thiago, to a red. But you got to find a way to make lemonade out of lemons.
Yep.
And playing that long down a man is good live fire training for playoffs in this situation. Yeah, and this is going to be weird because I feel like people are not approaching the first game correctly.
Yeah.
In that, I mean, yeah, you have the first game, but there's no aggregate scoring here. This isn't like the good old days where there was aggregates where you're thinking, okay, we got to go in and just like try and get this thing out like 0-0, 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
If game 1 gets away from you, you are going to have to win game 2 anyway.
Yeah.
So go win game 2 and make it a one-off.
Yeah.
In Columbus with everybody healthy. That being said, I have issues with the schedule. Like, I hate that it's like games are on Tuesday and Wednesday night. I hate it so much. Like, you won't have a lot of competition on broadcast side, but I'm still very annoyed because I would love for it to be on the weekend. Do Friday nights, man. Friday is sitting right there for you. There's no pro football. College football doesn't. There's maybe one Friday night game, and it's generally a sicko's masterpiece.
Yes.
But you go play this game, and yeah, you're probably going to go in defensive. Like, you go in with a box midfield, and do you just try and see what you can find? And then from there, you just kind of try and piece it together. And then you just gear up and like, hey, whatever happens, happens. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to win game 2 anyway. We're going to have to win the game on our own turf anyway. So that's the one that you would love to snap. You'd love to snag something here. in that first game in Columbus without Thiago. It's going to be tough.
Yep.
But you're going to have to play it. You're going to have to play it anyway. But you're going to have to win the game at home anyway. So worst case scenario, it doesn't go your way in Columbus. And you got to win the home game anyway. So you go win that game at home and you turn it into a winner takes all game 3.
Yeah. Your numbers.
The interesting thing here is which teams get this done in 2 games and which teams get it done in 3 games.
Yep.
And do we see a benefit or lack of benefit from getting it done in 2 games with extra time to rest, or is it too much time to rest?
Yeah. We've seen that in the past with teams that haven't played for weeks and then get bounced in round 1 of the playoffs. See Revolution, New England. Just for issues and giggles right now, they're doubleheader games. It's doubleheaders during the week, how things are laid out. New York and Charlotte, Kansas City, San Jose. That's a Wednesday doubleheader, 7:30, 9:30. Saturday, it's a doubleheader, 5 and 8. So you try to take the full block on a Saturday night, but you want the focus to be the one game. You're not having games all over the place. It is one game and then another game. 5 and 8, Philadelphia, New England, LAFC, and Vancouver. Vancouver, by the way, signed Vanni Sartini to a 2-year extension in front of 24,000 at BC Place. Triple header on Sunday, 6, 8, and 10. Houston, Salt Lake. We'll try to catch up with Glenn Davis on Friday and see if we can get his lay of the land for Houston and Salt Lake. That is a sneaky pain-in-the-ass series. Then Cincinnati gets the winner of the 8-9, and St. Louis gets the winner of the 8-9. That's on Sunday. So that literally what they want to have the focus be the one game, the one game, the one game, and the one game. Monday, it's a doubleheader. Orlando, Nashville, Seattle, and Dallas. One game, one game. Then, once again, Wednesday, it's the end of it. Atlanta United's match against Columbus is the last match of the game 1s in the opening round. Then you wait until Saturday for your game 2s. No Thursday, Friday. Everybody's traveling, doing what they're doing. Doubleheader Saturday the 4th. Doubleheader Saturday the 5th. Single game Monday the 6th. Doubleheader the 7th, which includes the Atlanta United game as the early match, 7:09 kick at Mercedes-Benz. Purple team is at Geodis for the late game Tuesday. One game Wednesday the 8th. One game Thursday the 9th. One game Friday the 10th. And the Thursday and Friday games are West Coast games. Saturday, triple header on the 11th. Sunday, triple header on the 12th, and that's game 3 of a possible game 3 of Columbus and Atlanta. So they've spread it out. They spread it out on purpose. I get it. But, man, does it make this road a long road. You give the players a chance to recoup and recover. I get it. I understand what you're doing as an entity in the first year of your new television contract. You are trying to have each property be its own individual thing. You're thinking about it once again as television episodes in a series. And you don't want to show the same TV program and have folks switching away to watch different things. You want them focused on that episode, and you want to turn everybody into a sicko to watch every match in the league all the way through. You don't want any crossover. You just want that one match to be the focus. Hey, we're going from here to here. This is a work in progress. They'll be learning as they go. And we will see what happens with year 1 of this television experiment. Your numbers, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Gigi had an 8.2 with the 2 goals, no surprise. Saba had a 7.4. Shande Silva on the left, a 6.7. Thiago with the 2 yellows, a 6.5. Hosechu, a 6.9. Muyumba, a 7.3. Your back line, Caleb Wiley, a 6.6. Ronald Hernandez, who got the start, 6.5. Notice we haven't said anything about Ronald Hernandez, and I mean that in a good way. He hops in. Brooks Lennon comes in later than late. I think it was a cup of coffee. He had 2 minutes. But Ronald Hernandez on the right punched a 6.5. Luis Abram and Miles had sevens on the board. For Atlanta United and your substitutions, basically everybody punched in the 6s. Purata late, 6.9. Brooks is 6.7. Chiade and Mosqueda is 6.5. Johnny Fortune is 6.6. Stats on the day. I'm going to skip XG. 57% possession for Cincinnati in the match. It was 55% for Atlanta United in the first half. 55-45 Atlanta United. Then obviously it finishes flipped because of the red card, playing down a man. Total shots 17-13. Atlanta had more shots on target, 5-3. More corners, 7-5 for Cincinnati. More free kicks for Cincinnati at 12-11. More yellows, 3. You had the one red, obviously. Big chances, 5 for Cincinnati. They missed 3 of them. Atlanta had 3. They missed 1. Shots inside the box, 13-10. Understandable for FC Cincinnati. Shots outside, 4-3. 4 saves for Celentano, 1 for Brad. Passing on the day, 88% effectiveness for FC Cincinnati. And Atlanta United only had 100 less passes, 106. Passed at 82%. Long balls, 28-23 for Atlanta United. Crosses, it was 12-2, understandable. Dribbles, 8 for Atlanta United, 4 completed for FC Cincinnati. Atlanta United won 45 of the 78 duels on the day. They won 10 of the 19 in the air, had 16 tackles compared to 8 for the opposition. Cincinnati had 11 interceptions compared to 6. Atlanta obviously clearing the ball 26 times compared to 11 for FC Cincinnati. You look at the numbers at the back, just to give you an idea about stuff. Once again, Mateus Osechu, 65 touches, 54 of 55 passing for Mateus Osechu, 98%. 2 for 3 on his ground duels, 2 clearances, a block, a pick, 2 tackles, and 1 dribble pass. So you see the work from Mateus Osechu on a day like this, and Thiago Almada obviously. If SofaScore would behave, I could give you Thiago's numbers. But once again, for Thiago, before he got the second yellow card, 51 minutes, 31 of 38 passing, 82% on 52 touches, 3 key passes, had 1 cross, 4 of 4 on his long balls, 2 big chances created, 2 for 3 on the dribbles, 3 of 8 on the ground duels, fouled once. And so that was your numbers for Thiago Almada. So now that we've had all of Sunday and a little bit of Monday morning, Jarrett, we sit here and we look at this and it's like, there you go. That's where we are right now. Here's once again, MLS finishing in your standings. And like I said, we'll have Will Palaszczuk coming on in about 10 minutes to talk about Charlotte FC. Standings, end of the season. Cincinnati with the pie plate, 6 points clear of Orlando. Columbus is third at 57. Philadelphia 55, ahead of New England on goal difference. Atlanta finishes 6th. Nashville finishes 7th at 49. Red Bulls in Charlotte is your 8-9. That's your 8-9. Montreal out. And the video of them watching the end of Red Bulls and Nashville to determine their own fate as they're sitting there at Stade Saputo watching monitors. I don't know if you've seen that video. NYC finishes at 41 points. You wonder about the future of Nick Cushing. DC at 40, Chicago at 40, Miami at 34, Toronto at 22 at 420 and 10, 0-13 and 4 on the road this year. In the West, St. Louis at 56 points. Seattle finishes second at 53. News out of Seattle this weekend, broken by our friend Nico Moreno. LAFC at 52, Houston at 51, RSL at 50. I maintain that 4-5 Houston and Salt Lake is going to be nuts. Vancouver at 48, Dallas at 46. Kansas City makes it in. I'll probably pull the Peter Vermes rant and run it tomorrow. Peter Vermes ranting. I know you're shocked. Kansas City makes it the 8 because of more wins over San Jose. Portland does not make it in. Minnesota does not make it in. Austin does not make it in. LA not in, Colorado not in. So, Jarrett, we look at the standings in the West, and the 2 teams that changed out their manager did not make the postseason after all, Portland and Minnesota.
Yeah, man, that was it was something because again, part of the thing is like, see, it seemed like it was going to work for Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what Portland did, it kind of felt wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt wrong to Gio. But in the Adrian Heath one, I think you can argue that it felt wrong. I think it's possible to argue that.
Yeah.
Mostly because I feel like they should have done it last year.
Yeah.
Or they should have done it in the offseason, and bringing him back was just kind of like, or wait till the offseason this year. Because, man, like, Minnesota looked pretty damn listless out there. There was no, like, interim bump in the last game of the season. But, yeah, man, yeah, the universe kind of bent against both of them in that last game. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of funny. Hey, and look, if you're mad at SKC and if you're mad at Vermes for cutting a promo on everybody, look, the man at one point had more red cards than goals in his team's ledger this season. And that wasn't after one game. It was after like 3 or 4. The fact that he got into the playoffs, hey, don't be mad at him. You need to take a look at all them teams that finished below them and ask them the questions.
Mm-hmm. Just saying. But it seems to me that some folks might have pulled the trigger, as you say, a little soon. And then then all of a sudden, your team doesn't make the playoffs. How's that for karma, sir? That would be intriguing.
It was, and that's the thing is, like, I don't even know, man. Like, I don't know how much of it was karma. Like, other than just like, hey, you got rid of this guy in both cases because you thought it wasn't good enough. And that's one thing, man. But like, where you were, it was going to be tough to get through, and you run that risk of the optics of it not working, you know?
Yeah.
Of like, hey, we didn't make the playoffs, and then we fired the guy who was kind of a legend in the program. I'm sorry, the program.
Yeah, program.
Yeah, program. Weird. But yeah, man, don't be mad at Peter Vermes and SKC, and don't be mad at Vermes for cutting a promo there, man.
Gee, Peter Vermes. Yeah, I know.
Vermes got production out of guys. You got Alan Polito performing like above his head, which funnily enough, the other guy performing way above his head in all of this was actually Teemu Pukki. If you look at the season-ending stats, Teemu Pukki like led the league in like goals per 90 because he was just playing so far over his head. Like, he had a higher goals per 90 than Gigi, barely. Because Giacomakis had the highest in the league for someone who played a significant amount of minutes. And look, Gigi's is going to go down if he plays the full amount of minutes. Even if he puts up enough goals to challenge for the boot, it would have gone down because that's how numbers work. He wasn't going to like continue playing video game numbers. However, like, Teemu Pukki playing above his head kept Minnesota like in the hunt until it didn't, because they just let too many get away from them in this season. So a lot of decisions to make on the coaching side. Hey, Shooter.
Oh God, Shooter's been mad all morning.
Bruce Arena will win in DC within 3 years. He laughed his ass off, Clint P. Yeah. Yeah, he will. Well, wherever he is. I don't know if it's DC.
Yeah, that too. That's the other part we haven't talked about this morning.
Man, if Bruce goes somewhere within the league, he's going to burn New England to the ground and salt the earth where it once stood.
Oh, man.
And he's going to smile the whole damn time. And not like a big grin, kind of like Elijah Wood in Sin City. Just that slight little smile with the mirrored glasses. Like, that's what we're dealing with here. And Bruce is going to burn it all down. And it's going to be funny. And he's going to cut a promo after the game because Bruce, when he's mad, is one of the funniest people to listen to talk. I will never forget in 2019, after Atlanta beat New England at the end of, and 2019, keep in mind also, is the era where like Bruce came in where New England was really lost in the woods. Bruce came in and like gave them some stability. They lost to Atlanta on decision day. Then they had to turn around and play Atlanta in the first round of the playoffs. And Atlanta beat them in the first round of the playoffs and didn't change a damn thing to do it. And I asked Bruce after the game, like, hey, man, did they do anything different? Before I could finish, he's like, no, they didn't do anything different. We knew exactly what they were going to do. And there's nothing you could do about it because Atlanta at the end of 2019 under Frank DeBoer was clicking. They were just fine. They had no problems in the world. And Bruce was in absolute hell because there was nothing he could do about it.
That is true.
Bruce, when he's mad, is an amazing interview because it's so salty. And I do appreciate that about it because it's very raw and it's very authentic.
Yes, it is very authentic. We're about to start hour number 2.
No, I don't, Michael, I don't think it ever was real what Bruce did. If it was, I missed it. I don't think there was ever like a laid out, here is exactly what Bruce did kind of thing.
No, we never found out.
Trying to having an in-law from Philly, that's a trauma. You say that, but like Philadelphia just had like legendarily bad championship luck earlier in the season in multiple sports. And I'm here to tell you right now, sorry, Rich, Phillies better win a title this year because this is 2 years in a row where they have put on like legendary playoff offensive performances that no one's ever seen. And if they go through 2022 and 2023 and don't pick up a ring after these postseason performances, oh, buddy.
Yes. I'm Jared, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in our three-way dance here with Willie P. So filibuster while I'm typing. So you get the first question, Jarrett, with Willie P.
Okay. Well, oh, God. I have to throw it at me, John. That's fine. Hey, Willie.
What's going on, Jared? How are you? Hi, Johnny.
What's up, dude?
Good to see you guys.
Good to be seen.
Well, first off, how are you recovering after whatever the hell Saturday night was? Because I've been critical of a lot of like the lead up to the playoffs where I felt like Charlotte left so many points on the table, and I felt like if they didn't get in, this was going to be on them for the points they've left on the table. But Saturday night was, dude, that was special, man.
Well, you've asked me how I'm recovering. I haven't slept since Friday, so
that's not good.
And every time I say that, times this morning, and it's not a lie. Like literally, last 2 nights, I've literally making the last 3 nights, I've probably woke up around 3-4 o'clock in the morning and just whether it's anxiety, euphoria, deliriousness, anticipation, all those emotions. Saturday was different. I'll just say it hit different. It felt very much like the first game we ever had in March of last year, but it had almost that little extra sauce to it because not only did you have the stakes of the playoffs on there, but you also had the Messi component. And I knew it was going to be interesting when the way that we drive into the stadium, there's really only one way in for where we park. We drive past, I don't know how well you guys know the city. We drive past the baseball stadium, and the first 6 shirts that I see are pink. And I'm sitting there. I look at my wife, and she's like, "Will, there's going to be a lot of Messi fans." And I said, "Yep, more than I probably thought there were going to be." But I will say the Charlotte fans turned up too as well. I would say still maybe about 55-45 for Charlotte in the stands, but there was still plenty of Messi fans there. They were heard. There were tears, which I liked. But I just feel like so many ebbs and flows. The last person who I talked to, I mean, I've been getting the question leading up to the game almost just nauseatingly so many times. We were like, is Messi going to play? Are you going to win? What's going to happen? And last person I told before I walked into the booth, I said, we're going to get a goal early and we're going to shut him out. And Messi's going to play. And right before that, or right after that, is when they made the announcement with the lineup that said Messi's starting. And I look on my Twitter and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Like, so there's that. And then Vargas gets the early goal and off we go. And they played some very good organized defense. I give them a lot of credit. I think Twellman on the TV copy was saying they played a lot more man than he was expecting. And I think, honestly, they needed to, given the way Wednesday went, because I think the zonal marking, for whatever reason, didn't work. It allowed the two guys to split the two defenders on the 2 goals we conceded. And I was impressed with the way that they came back off of that, Matt, and really got themselves a resilient victory. It was very hairy at times. Kalina needed to be a god in goal and stand on his head a couple of times. He had the fingertip save. He had the one off the bar, which I still don't know how the hell that one didn't go in. But so many different things had to go right for Charlotte FC to win that game. A lot of them created by their own by their own fortune, and also I think we definitely had an extra defender. And I even said that in the end of the match. You know, I couldn't help but think of Anton in that moment. His daughter came out in a lead up as well. And I even said, you know, I think we had a 12th defender out there with Anton Walks helping us out, getting us over the hump. It was real great to see a lot of the Charlotte soccer OGs in the aftermath too. People who were there way before I was and really trying to help and champion the cause. People who are rooting for teams like Stumptown and the Carolina Lightning and obviously the Independents before them. It's real great to see not only the Charlotte community come together from a soccer aspect, but also to see the people who are, you know, the Johnny-come-latelys, which we welcome all bandwagoners. We're the bandwagon is open, and we give no judgment. You don't need to know offside from the backside. You know, let's get it going and let's make something happen here in this city, which is real great to see.
All right, so I'm going to play it. I have it. I have the recording as it was released on the 280 character app. And this is the mashup montage closed up 2-minute version that was released on various forms. This was how the match ended with you and Jess on WFNZ, plus the moment when you found out you were in. And I'm going to play it for everybody who might not have heard it. So like I said, it's about 2 minutes, but it's worth your time. Once again, courtesy of our friends like Willie P and Jess. Here we go.
See Westwood looking at Diahare. Diahare saying, let's go to the corner, man.
And goes to the corner to Diahare. Diahare played on it by Robinson and Busquets. And they're going to play it for a corner. And that's it! The crowd belongs to Charlotte. And Charlotte FC, if the results hold, have clinched its first playoff berth in club history.
History is in the making at Bank of America Stadium. Nails are being bitten. Scoreboards are being watched. Everybody is waiting for the moment of confirmation to give these players what they deserve. This was the definition of commitment from the crowd. This was the definition of a never say die attitude. This side has been counted out time and time and time again, but they never laid down and accepted when people doubted them. They rose to the occasion and tackled business from Bank of America Stadium and are emphatic in victory with the 1-0 scoreline. The clean sheet, the battle, the goal.
We have won. New York City 1-0. That game has gone final. Nashville and Red Bulls are currently in the 92nd minute.
I just got to share, Minty is grabbing a heron by the throat right now. A little subtle dig into Miami as we wait for number 2.
Still New York with the possession. Halfway home in stoppage time. And that's it! It's over!
It's done!
Charlotte FC is going to the playoffs! Charlotte FC is going to the playoffs! Columbus Crew beat Montreal, and we are headed for soccer on Wednesday night.
History in the making. This is what dreams are made of. Charlotte FC lives to fight another day. Can't wait to be back on Wednesday.
So how does that feel, brother?
So it's so weird because we've had so many unfortunate situations happen over the course of this year. I don't need to repeat for people who are Charlotte FC fans, 25 drop points from winning positions and 9 goals conceded that changed results from the 81st minute on, including 6 that took place in stoppage time. The issues from the defensive standpoint have been well chronicled, and I think a lot of that's due to, maybe some mistimed aggressiveness a lot of times, but I also feel like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy after a while. If you give up a couple of those results, the mental part of the game works against you in that fashion. And so for them to conquer that hurdle on Saturday, I think goes a long, long way in helping them not only on Wednesday, but also in the future for those who play beyond this season. And I think, too, the head coach got a lot of criticism as a result of that, but I feel like sometimes it's misfired from a lot of people. I think that a lot of times he's made the right subs, and the guys he's put in have just not done the job. And there are times where the coach takes the brunt of the criticism for that, and he rightfully does so. But I think he hit every mark that he could on Saturday with the moves that he made. He didn't go to the back 5 too quickly. I think they made that sub for Derek Jones in like the 89th minute. And there was only 3 minutes of stoppage time. That was the biggest surprise for me, is that there were only 3 minutes of stoppage time. I thought for sure we were headed for a double-digit number, not for anything else other than the fact that Messi's sitting out there. Not to be the conspiracy theorist, but the fact that they really didn't control things once that hit like the 91st, 92nd minute after the Kalina fingertip save in the one corner. The fact that they were able to get the ball in the positive side of the field and go right to the corner flag, draw a foul, and basically keep Miami away from the opposition net. And then the thing that's just so uniquely football, uniquely soccer, the thrill of decision day and having the just run right to the phone. Both Jess and I were looking at our phones. I had I set up before the game the SofaScore app. Yep. And I basically put the notifications on our game and those 3 games. And so I'm waiting on those, but then I'm also watching MLS 360 on the phone. So I'm getting I'm almost kind of getting like double.
How many devices did you have in the booth?
I had that. I had the iPad with the live stats. I had my computer. Like I was overloaded. I looked like you've seen the Charlie Day meme from Always Sunny, where he's sitting there being like, okay, how do we get this together? And basically, I'm watching Luquinhas take the penalty kick for Red Bulls, and then I see the push notification come down that the Montreal Columbus game's gone final, and I'm thinking, that's it. We got the 2. I don't care what Luquinhas does.
Hey, save your pipes. You got Wednesday. You don't have to go all the way. It's just.
But it was good. It was so cool, and I'm that was the coolest moment. And I feel like we as broadcasters, we always visualize those moments. I mean, I've called state championship games and playoff runs and other sports, but this one was incredibly special, and I know that there are a lot of people who follow this team who bleed for them, and to be able to deliver on that moment. And I love Jess's WWE promo. I mean, that was really, really cool. As literally Sir Minty is giving the people's elbow to the stuffed animal heron on the pitch, was really, really cool. It was awesome, and I love it. She even said after me, she's like, "Are you okay that I kind of went WWE diva there?" I was like, go ahead, it's fine. I loved it, and it was real great.
Drop that elbow, McMahon, and make sure that you make contact with that bird.
It was good. It was very good.
Hutch is asking about the heron, and it's because the heron is their mascot. It looks like a flamingo, but technically it's a heron. Hutch,
right?
Jarrett, go ahead.
Yeah, and I guess now that we're staring into the future of a one-off wild card game, Thunderdome, 2 teams that are 1 team leave kind of thing. For those of us that haven't watched Charlotte all year and what they've become, who's someone kind of off the board to keep an eye on that roster who could make a huge difference?
Well, I think the real change for Charlotte FC happened when they added Yera Orinen. They were devoid of a quality left back since really their inception. Yeah. And I think they've had to kind of piecemeal it together. They did it originally at the start with Joseph Mora, who I think did adequate jobs at times, but wasn't necessarily as good going forward. They put Nathan Byrne in that spot and moved Jalen Lindsey into the right back, but I think there were, again, some issues defensively with Jalen that unfortunately crept up in a couple of contests, including on last Wednesday night when you didn't have Yera available for international duty. So that has put Charlotte FC's defense in a much different position now with Orrin in there. He can pinch in as well, deliver some great service. I think he's a player that you don't hear often about, but he does a very tidy job. He was the one who was basically on Messi's side the entire game, and I honestly think they kept him as quiet as anybody did in a game where he played 90 minutes. I know that he had a couple of set-piece opportunities, but he wasn't really able to create, and he was hounded the entire game. I think Brant Bronico gets definitely a nod as well because he was very much all over Messi and had him in his back pocket the whole game. But Orrin just allows them to do so much more on defense. It allows Andrew Privet to play up and join the rush from the center back position. That's something that they've been doing all season, at least in the second half of the season with him. They tried to do it with Derek Jones in the early part of the season, but they found Privet actually is somebody who, from a midfielder standpoint, kind of joins that rush very naturally for them, and they kind of set back almost kind of in a back three when they're playing on offense, and Privet joins the midfield in that way, almost kind of like a 3-3-2-2 scenario. And I also feel like the fact that you've been able to get, they only had guys 10 games out of 41 in all competitions where they had all three DPs on the field together because of injury, international duty, and just also bad form. I mean, Josviak got hurt in the Atlanta game. We didn't see him for a while, and when he came back, he didn't really look like himself. Enzo took a couple of knocks around the Leagues Cup, didn't play in the entire Leagues Cup tournament. Swiderski's had to miss a couple of games and play out of a couple of because of international duty. So it's been kind of put together on the fly, so to speak. Even a guy like Breck Diahare, who came in also in the summer transfer window, who I think looked good early and also got himself a goal. Unfortunate penalty mistake against Nashville really kind of doomed the narrative when it came to him, but he's back now and offering support off the bench. Mentioned Derek Jones as well, somebody who I feel like is a great super sub to help things from that perspective. And I think the other part of this is that, the game on Wednesday, we know Red Bulls are going to be very physical, and they love to win the ball in the air. That's not necessarily Charlotte FC's game, but I think they're good at being able to counter that and get the ball on the ground, because if you try to get the ball on the ground against Red Bulls, you try to get them to possess, they're not comfortable with it. They're very much more of a direct team. They try to play you long. And I think Charlotte FC offers the perfect counter to that. They've played some real intense matchups with Red Bulls. We played them in the round of 16 Open Cup last year. Unfortunately, lost that game. I think we had some squad rotation issues in that particular contest. It was also near the end of the Miguel Angel Ramirez tenure, too. So there were other factors at play involved there. But then Latanzio got his first ever win against Red Bulls a year ago, and you saw a lot of resilience from that squad as well. There was a play with Patrick Klamala in that contest where he took out Christian Kalina in that one that I think also has kind of fueled a little bit to the rivalry with these two teams. And I almost think of Red Bulls the way that Atlanta fans do. Not a natural rivalry, but important games against a squad can cause enmity. And I think just having this part added to the chapter that we've already had, it'll be the sixth time we've played them in 2 seasons. In all competitions, it makes for a very enticing matchup on Wednesday.
Will Palaszczuk, play-by-play for Charlotte FC at Willie P Style, i.e. Willie P Style, on the 280-character app, hanging out with us here, breaking down history in Charlotte as they get ready for Thunderdome coming up in the midweek against a team that believes the ball has cooties. And they don't want no part of it. And just for the record, Diahare needs more consonants in his name.
I can give him some. I got 7. So
yeah. See, but you got good Scrabble points though.
Yeah,
you don't want to see that.
36, by the way, is Palaszczuk. 36.
Nice. So you got to figure out where you can put the Z and get your 10 and all that kind of stuff.
You got to make the double word score, double letter score, or triple letter score work there.
I know how this works. But I mean, when you look at Red Bulls, legitimately, you mentioned physicality. They don't want the ball. They literally, it's hoof it, and then they'll go chase.
Mm-hmm.
What they want to do is they want to create short fields, pressure, transition, 20, 25 yards out, get a turnover, bang, be clinical with their opportunities. I mean, and that puts a lot of pressure on the back line for Charlotte here, and it's been something that has been had. I think that's got to be like a past, present participle.
Mm-hmm.
You've had to piece together that back line to come up with that combination that seems to work. How long did it take this back line to get on the same page coming from all these different places?
It's literally been in the last month, John. I think Jess had the stat. I don't know how many, but it's in the double digits of how many different back lines that Charlotte FC has had to play through 41 competitions due to injury. We had a unfortunate just epidemic of center back injuries earlier in the season. Of course, we had projected to have Anton back there with Malanda. Those were the two that were up there, and his unfortunate passing put Charlotte FC in a bit of a bind to try and get somebody in there quickly. They put and plucked Bill Tuiloma from Portland. That had some good moments, but not necessarily totally fruitful. I think that, Latanzio views him more as more of an outside defender. That's what he plays in New Zealand. So it's a scenario where they didn't necessarily line those two up. And then he just started experimenting. They had Soboczinski back there for a little bit. Doesn't necessarily like the characteristics, does Latanzio, of Soboczinski in his particular system. Guzman Carujo joined us back again mid-season. Same kind of deal. They like the ability for the center back to push forward, and Carujo is kind of more of an old school center back, so he's not necessarily apt to want to push forward, and as a result, that made him kind of fall out of favor in Latanzio's system. And then they literally put Privet in. I think it was against Montreal early on in the season, and it was very much a last-ditch scenario where they put him in, making his first MLS start. He was a third-round pick out of Penn State. And we're sitting there being like, neither Jess nor I could have seen this coming. But lo and behold, Crown Legacy really helped kind of nurture that because he was playing that position. And we got a little bit of that advanced intel right before the match. I said, look, he's been playing this under Jose Tavares' squad that won the Eastern Conference. And they'd been kind of preparing for this and putting him in that role. And we got a chance to talk to him right afterwards. And he's like, look, it seemed kind of foreign to me at the beginning, but, as I kept doing it at Legacy, he really grew and kind of understood what the role is like. And that's honestly the second reserve team really becoming a boon for the Charlotte FC side, because you not only have Privet, but you had Brandon Cambridge, who you think about the way the season's gone. They've needed literally every point they've earned to get into the playoffs. Brandon Cambridge doesn't get nurtured at Crown Legacy, comes off the bench, scores a brace against Chicago. Charlotte FC's talking about next year. And a guy like Patrick Agyemang, who scores a late equalizer against Seattle to steal a draw from Sounders. And that was probably one of the most delirious games of the season. And I think that game also proved to kind of be a turning point, because Charlotte, in their home building, it's been very rare for them that they've been such a home dog. There's been a couple of opportunities where they were home underdogs in a matchup, and they look great in that matchup. They looked great last year when they played Philadelphia in the same sense. They beat the defending champions in their home building as well this year with LAFC. And again, I think match congestion for them was very much an issue at the end of the season. You've heard Cherundolo talk about that from their perspective as well. And a couple of other coaches have done that as well. I tried to get Latanzio to talk about it, but he didn't want to bite on that. So he gave credit to the boys and said, hey, you know what? They're professionals. And that was cool to see, even though, like I said, they've played 41, 42 matches this year already. But I do feel like it's something that has come together. I mentioned Ernan's development and addition to the squad. That has helped. I think Malanda, he didn't have a good game on Wednesday, but he's somebody who at 21 years old looks wise beyond his years when he is right. And he looked much better on Saturday. He's somebody who's not afraid to get in there. He's also a very imposing presence. He's like 6'4", and I don't look up to many people. I'm 6'3".
Like Crown Legacy, like 6'4", 6'5"? I swear to God.
They got a lot of those guys. They really do. Especially in the back. Joel Guillerme is big. Joel Pedro, both those guys. I mean, they just get and find all those 6'4", 6'5" center backs.
Footers, man.
It's crazy.
They're all the way back there.
And like I said, and Byrne is kind of the same way too as Uranen, where like you might not hear him on the ball a lot, you might not hear his presence, but like his great thing is he knows how to draw a foul and draw contact against an attacker with his back to the attacker. He really is able to do that about as well as anybody that I've seen play for Charlotte FC in the opening 2 years, and the maturation of that back line is something that we've continued to see. And look, you also give credit to the goalkeeper. I would be reticent to not do that because of the 3 big saves that Kalina made near the end. Had back-to-back clean sheets, now 3 out of 4 after the one he had on Saturday. And he's somebody who's playing a lot of his best soccer. And they need him to play a little sweeper keeper, too, at times, which is, I think, something you look at and say he's got to maybe develop a lot more of in his locker. And I'm very happy to see that he's now getting the success after a lot of great hard work.
Jarrett, one more for Willie P.
I wanted to ask you about Lattanzio and his growth this year, because especially when there were managers getting fired left and right this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there were a lot of points dropped, and I'm sure there was a lot of frustration because Charlotte had shown that they could run with a lot of the big dogs, but they were just having trouble finishing the drill. What have you seen in his growth as a manager just this year, going through a lot of adversity?
I know you mentioned the managers being fired left and right, and a lot of Charlotte FC fans, unfortunately, had been kind of wondering like when was their opportunity to have that happen. And I'm happy that he has gotten beyond that adversity. And I think there are some things, like I said earlier, that you could look at and say would be attributed to him in terms of sub choice, timing of subs, and overall tactics. I think he was reticent early on to put Enzo and Carroll kind of in the same space. I think that was kind of the biggest mountain he had to climb tactically, because he's somebody who's used to a 4-3-3. And while they make it look like a 4-3-3 on the graphic, with Swiderski kind of playing as an 8, it's really more like a 10/secondary striker, and trying to find that right role for Swiderski was, I think, the biggest thing he had to kind of find. I think those two guys are best when they're playing closer together, but it can't be that for 90 minutes. It's got to be varied in their attack, and you'll see sometimes where Capetti will fan out and let Carroll go straight. There are times where Capetti will play hold-up play in the middle and play with his back to goal and try to nudge Swiderski along. And I do feel like that was kind of the biggest thing that he had to kind of overcome, because there were times earlier in the year where he was putting Swiderski on the wing. That didn't work. There was times in late in games where he tried to put Capetti on the wing. That didn't work. And I think it was more trying to give them the tools and figure out how to find each other. Because I think, too, if you're both those players, you both want to be the dude. Like, Capetti came in basically saying he wants to be the 9, and Swiderski came in here last year saying he wants to be the number 9, doesn't need any help. And I feel like those two have found a way to coexist and make magic together. And I also feel like the other part from Lattanzio is that he's been looking all year very much in the same way that his predecessor looked, to try and find the right combination on the wing. And we just did not have good wing play through the middle part of our season. They added the former Atlanta United man, Justin Merrim, who I think was very good early again, but I think a lot of the match congestion for him was a rough part of trying to keep him fresh. They had some injuries. I think Juzviak, with going down, created a real big hole in terms of where Charlotte FC was looking forward to try and get some speed and tenacity down that right side. Mackenzie Gaines got hurt as well, somebody who has provided a lot of speed off the bench. I think we saw Kelvin Vargas shine early, score the goal against Orlando, and then really wasn't heard from until this week, really, with 2 goals he scored against Miami. And that, I think, has been the real great thing to see his development, the Colombian. I really love that he's become somebody who Charlotte FC fans can rally around, because, every time he does that somersault, that backwards vault is really, really cool to see. And the fact that they now have the ability to put all three of those dudes, the three DPs, on the field at the same time, Capetti, Swiderski, Juzviak, along with Vargas, has created an attack that I think is diverse. It's not just, hit and hope in the box. They can attack through the middle now with, the combination of Westwood and Bronico, Arfield when he comes off the bench as well. And they have the ability to really be a team now that I feel like can hurt you in multiple different areas, which they weren't like that during the early part of the season.
All right, cut the promo for me for Thunderdome. What are the plans for you and Jess as you guys have your moment of history in the postseason?
So we're on a different station Wednesday than we normally are on our flagship. I think we're working out also whether or not the game will be available across our three-state network. That's something that's done by people who are not me and above my pay grade, so that's being worked out right now. But I know it,
folks.
I know in Charlotte we'll be on 99.3 and AM 1110 WBT, because the Hornets play that night, their home opener against, ironically enough, Atlanta. So that'll be interesting to have happen across town. But we'll be doing that from New Jersey and giving you all the sights and sounds and trying to make that happen. And also, if those who are Charlotte FC fans want to take in the game in the area, they're doing a watch party up at Camp North End, which is about a mile and a half from the stadium in a brand new developed area. That's actually somebody who has moved to Charlotte after his MLS career. Wasn't a Charlotte FC player, but if you remember Tesho Akindele from Orlando, he has moved to Charlotte. He's become kind of a community advocate. He's helped out at this development, Camp North End, which is very much been a project to try and revitalize the northern part of our just right outside of downtown. And they've got a great area. We actually had our kit unveil there last year for the primary kit, and they're going to be hosting the Charlotte FC fans there for the official in Charlotte watch party on Wednesday evening. But looking very forward to it. Our pregame starts at 7 on WBT, and hopefully also across the Charlotte FC network, which is 3 stations wide from Virginia all the way down to South Carolina.
Nice. Will Palaszczuk, play-by-play for Charlotte. Piece of history coming up for Thunderdome for the one-off against Red Bulls coming up in the midweek MLS playoffs. Thanks for dropping in, especially after a very, very busy weekend where you've gotten no sleep. Maybe if you just went out to the grill and did some cooking and just kind of killed some time.
There might be some therapeutic smoking on the grill later on tonight. Maybe to just keep my mind off of all the things going on about 62 hours from now.
Who's counting, right? At Willie
Right.
P. Style in the 280 character app. Thanks again, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you guys as always.
All right. That's Will. And now he's going to go. Could you therapeutic grilling like late morning? That just sounds.
I mean, everybody's got their thing, man. Some people juggle geese.
And
it's okay.
As long as you grab the geese by the foot and Hutch. Yeah.
As long as you're careful with the goose fat, that stuff will burn.
Yes. Shooter, the color commentator for Charlotte, is one of our golden ticket OGs, Jessica Charman. And Jess and Jason are two of the busiest people in the universe when it comes to calling soccer matches. And Jess does color for Charlotte FC. You'll hear her on Sirius XM-FC a couple days a week doing noontime and midday. She'll do college soccer on ESPN Plus. She and Jason are all over the place doing stuff, and so that was the voice that you heard, Shooter, with Willie P on the Charlotte broadcast, and so they've been there since day one. But yeah, Jess going WWE promo with Sermenti doing the people's elbow on a heron. That kind of stuff you never hear anyplace else.
That's what we give you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And Hutch, a comfort grill. That is what I think that's what Will is up to, is a comfort grill for brunch. So I have I've got my chowfa from last night and it's still left over in the fridge. So I think that's going to be lunch at some point. But since we didn't get to do it because Will came in like immediately screaming in at 9:58, I've got to read a promo. So I'm going to find our promo music and make sure that the level is at a position where I'm not blowing anybody's ears out. And we'll talk about our friends at Eliminize Service. For odor-free, clean, fresh air, one place you need to go, and it's our friends at Eliminize. QR code over my left shoulder for those of you who are watching on Twitch on our YouTube channel and on the 280-character app. Rotor-free clean, fresh air. You go to Eliminize. They deodorize enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. They've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pets, cigarettes, and food. Realtors and property managers use Eliminize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process. Thank you, Ricky. Makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment that I do know about. It's a very green way of getting rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents, because when you have your masking agent that is either under the sink or above you in the cupboard, and you reach under the sink or above you in the cupboard, you drag that masking agent out, you spray it in the air. There's a reason they call it a masking agent. Just masks the odor. It doesn't attack the problem like our friends at Eliminize Service do with their proven scientific formula, destroying odors down to the molecule. Pricing very, very easy, one of two ways, either by the cubic foot or parts per million to come up with a price that's affordable for you. Offering results in 24 hours or less. Any questions you have, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go, and that is their website. This is where I grab my pen. Eliminize.com, but do us a favor, after the .com, go /Atlanta so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from. Full homework assignment. ELIMINIZE.com /Atlanta, Eliminize.com /Atlanta. Eliminize Service, proud sponsors of Everything SDH. On a Reaction Monday, where we talk about everything on your mind, Atlanta United and beyond, to get you into the week where Thunderdome is on Wednesday, involving the 8s and the 9s. We'll try and catch up with friends in Kansas City as well to get you ready for Thunderdome out west. And just be prepared. Doubleheader Wednesday. Eastern Thunderdome, Western Thunderdome, and we'll see what happens there. Do not know about any kind of firings today or anything like that. Have not heard anything, but obviously we'll keep an eye out on the media that is social and see if anything is going to happen in New York or meaning in Queens, not out in New Jersey, but there's a thought maybe that Troy Lacine will get the full-time gig with Red Bulls. We'll keep an eye on NYCFC. We'll keep an eye on Los Angeles. Greg Vanny is supposed to have a press opportunity later today, so we'll see what happens there. But there's still going to be some gigs out there that are going to be high profile that may be in need of refreshment when it comes to the touchline. So we'll see what happens there as we go forward. Let's get into your comments from the show this morning so far and your thoughts about Atlanta United. I know there were a lot of folks who were staring at Gigi and what he was chasing after. I know that a lot of you are going back and forth with Bam while Bam was awake chasing after Gigi and Bouanga. Michael Head, wish I could say something positive about Almada's red and the ridiculous playoff schedule, but I'm trying to be a more positive person. Like I said, when it came to...
you can be realistic about this. That's a really dumb red card, man.
Yeah, it was.
And yeah, you're going to have to figure something out for the post. You're going to have to figure out something. The first postseason game is going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You be real about it, man. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But you kind of do benefit from this new, weird, stupid system, because instead of being like, oh man, we have to try and survive for the first leg of a two leg, or it's a one-off, you can lose. I'm not endorsing this, so hear me out. I'm not endorsing it. You can theoretically lose this game 6-0.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It's kind of like a baseball. It's like a baseball or a hockey or a basketball playoff. Like, one game blowout don't kill you. Because you can lose this first one 6-0. If you win the next one 1-0 and then win a shootout in Columbus, guess what? You're going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's also not it's also you do benefit a little bit from the weird ass playoff system.
Yes.
So take that with you and hold it close if you got to. That's okay if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird system. We're going to have a lot of thoughts about all this as we see it play out. I am much more partial personally to 2 legs for all of my playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't love it. Like, I don't love this setup. So is what it is.
I get it.
I don't love it though. Like, I'll tell you straight up, I don't like it.
No,
I'm not a fan of what it is, but I'm going to ride it out, and we're going to see what it looks like in live action before I say it's the worst thing since the invention of YouTube algorithms.
Well, I mean, think about it. The way that I've always thought of this is treat it like you're a television programmer. If you're a PD at a television network, what do you need to do with a new hit show? You need to have as many episodes as possible, seen by as many eyes as possible, so you can sit there and draw folks to your new product. You've got the new hit television show. I mean, literally, this is like Friends on Must See Thursday. What do you do with Friends on Must See Thursday to back up that lineup so you can sit there and make sure that everybody is locked into the Peacock on a Thursday night? You've got Friends. You've got Just Shoot Me. You've got Seinfeld. You've got whatever's going on at 9:30. You've got Frasier. You've got to line up all of these episodes from 8 to 11 to get you to local news. That's what Apple is doing here. They are treating this like it is a television program in its first season that is a hit. You're trying to maximize episodes. You're trying to maximize eyeballs, and that's what you're doing with all of this. That's why you're staggering it out and turning it into an NBA/NHL-ish playoff structure where it is Eastern-Western. I want Eastern audiences on one. I want Western audiences on another. Primetime East, primetime West, one match here, lock it down, no interference from anybody else, and then we'll figure it out as we, have less teams and everything. But because you have all of these teams going at it, you've staggered your playoff schedule, you've staggered your viewing schedule, and you're maximizing the number of episodes for this hit television show that you have on Apple TV.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to try and enjoy it because, man, playoffs are great. Y'all, playoffs are wonderful. They're stupid and they're magical, and we'll still enjoy the playoffs even if we don't like this particular format. And I'm going to go into it with eyes open, ready to see what it looks like. Also, part of me, I am really having to wrestle with the fact that I don't care for it because I feel like it's unnecessary, I guess.
Yeah.
But let's see what it looks like. Let's see how we feel after the first round.
Yeah.
I don't love the one-offs. And I think that's one of my bigger problems is I don't love the one-offs that come after the first round.
Yeah.
At all. Like I have anger about like one-offs. I want
after
we get through this. Yeah, I want 2 legs.
I want 2 legs.
So
I want 2 legs, and you would think that, if with Apple devoting all of these TV episodes to this new hit series of theirs, that you would want more episodes, that you would do a Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday 2-leg because they do it in Liga MX. They do it without hesitation.
Yeah. I mean, it should not be hard to do this. And we'll see how it looks. So yeah, I am eternally going to be struggling with this personally. We'll see how it goes though, man.
Yeah.
But because you know what? Total non-zero chance that we get through this first playoff run. And I'm like, you know what? That was fun. This just might be MLS's weird, beautiful nightmare of chaos that we all get to enjoy together.
# nightmare of chaos.
Non-zero chance that that's how I feel afterward. And if that's the case, don't apologize for feeling that way if that's how you feel after all this is said and done.
Yeah.
Like if we get through this and everyone's like, hey man, that was kind of fun, that's okay. You don't have to, if you feel how I feel now, which is y'all doing way too damn much. If you're feeling that way right now, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you find yourself feeling different after the first round of playoffs, you don't have to pretend like you still hate it. It's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's okay to see it in motion and be like, you know what, that was all right. So that just don't be afraid of your feelings. We'll work through this together.
And Forecard wants to know, you're going to change it again next year. Wouldn't surprise me.
That might be the thing that pisses me off more than anything, is the inconsistency from year to year.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about like potentially having to, decide how teams prepare for playoffs, changing year after year. That is exhausting to even think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is exhausting to think about, that like, oh my God, we're going to have to change how we prep for playoffs year in and year out. That's not okay. Find something, and at least like if this is what you're going to do and you want to tinker with the second round, cool, do that.
I think that's what I'm staring at. I think that after this season, I think that they'll look at round 2 and then they'll sit there and they will do, I would hope, the adjustment of the midweek weekend 2-leg, whether it's, aggregate or what have, 2-leg aggregate or 2-leg whatever. I think that would be the adjustment, is you go 2 legs until MLS Cup, and then you get the one match for your MLS Cup final. That would be the one tweak that I would anticipate with all of this after this season, just trying to sit there and figure out how to adjust it.
Yeah, maybe.
Niall, I'd like to think that Almada will learn from this. He's probably the most upset out of anybody, frustrating because he did not have to put himself in that situation. And Ricky says, I know that's the thing we say when these things happen, but he's going to disagree this time, that he's more upset than anyone. If I'm Gonzo, I'm heated. Yeah. And as we gave you with Gonzo's quote, yeah, he's not happy. He said it was stupid. So Gonzo agrees. It was a stupid second yellow card. Direct quote from Gonzo after the match. So, you learn from it. You put your team in a situation on the road but once again, that's the beauty of the best of 3 is that, yes, you're handcuffed and you're hamstrung, but you can find a way through it. But that's, like I said, that's what this week is for. That's what this week is, to figure out what you do before you get to midweek next week and figure out how you're going to address Columbus with Rossi and with Cucho Hernandez as a part of the scoring fraternity that's up there. But Jarrett, like you said, you could lose that one 6-0 and it doesn't matter. Loss is a loss. Doesn't matter if it's 1-0, doesn't matter if it's 6-0. You come home, you take care of business, you turn it into a best of 3 and see who blinks. That's all you can do. If you lose a game 1, you try not to let it spiral and go 2 and out. If you're shorthanded in match number 1, if you lose 1-0, you lose 6-0, whatever, fine. You work on the game at home, and then you work on a match number 3 for a decider and see how folks can handle pressure situations. Bottom line.
Yeah. And that's how you have to deal with it now, because that's the reality of it. Like, you can sit here and, man, if such and such, if so and so, yeah. And if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bicycle, man. Like, if frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their ass when they jumped. So yeah, you're gonna have to make do. You're going to have to make it work. So make it work. Yeah. You trust Gonzalo Pineda to do that.
Yeah.
In the middle of the season, you look at some of the games in the middle of the season when he's had to piece things together. He's done it in the past. You're asking him to do it again, and it's going to be tough. But this is also, if you want to win in the playoffs, you have to go through big dogs. Yeah. Not everyone gets to have Orlando in the U.S. Open Cup, where they got all home games and played a USL team in the final. You don't get that, especially when you're not a top seed. You got to find a way to make it happen, and you're going to have to find a way to make it happen against damn good teams. Because yes, you're going to go through Columbus this round. Guess what? It might be Philly or Orlando or Cincinnati waiting for you in the next round on a one-off, and you'll probably have to do it in their house.
Yeah.
Find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Find a way.
Yes. To our conversation about San Diego and pouring one out for San Diego Loyal and San Diego FC. Forecard is like, actually, a lot of you guys are just destroying San Diego FC. Different is fine. We welcome different. Michael Head, San Diego United, Albion Rangers FC. That sounds like the credit union sponsor for the bowl game. Kefsey, yeah, they came up with a design by putting a letter S and a D in a washing machine and took notes. Four-card wants the San Diego Whales. He says it's a missed opportunity. Nix, chrome is a color, but it's also an effect. And Ricky says, if Vegas comes online and the rumored trademark they took out for Vegas villains actually happens, I will stand and applaud. If you end up with something like Vegas villains, that would be epic. That would be thinking outside the box. Ricky, San Diego Armada, Bam with the surf. Hutch, we could probably post the lyrics to Kumbaya at some point and have everybody have a sing-along. The biggest thing for Nick's was asking who slots in for Thiago game 1. Like I said, I think that what you do is you have, off the top of my head, I would say Hasetsu becomes more of a point guard, and you're going to be more pragmatic, and I'm not meaning that in a negative sense. I think that you're going to pick your spots instead of going all the way down back and forth. And I think that you probably rely on somebody like an Amar Sejdic in the middle. Maybe it's a Jay Fortune to help you out in the midfield. We'll see how that is, but that's my gut off the top of my head. Stuff on Luisa Brom, stuff about Gigi. Yeah, and Niall, I think what we may do is we may enlist the aid of our buddy Hudson, the Mile High 17, to see if we can do a Boom Yakamakis. And see if we can get that done. We will have, and I'm going to tease this, we will have various scarf updates coming up in the next little bit. So, you know how we traditionally, we'll have our SDH scarf. We'll have scarf updates coming up in short term. Niall says he's got a feeling Jamal and Gigi will start next week. And Ricky, with Gigi. That's why I said with the way that it was posted to social media with Gigi about him being the next C, where he says he blanking loves this team. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. And the quote that we read early in hour number 1, those kinds of things that we lay into, those are the kinds of things where Gigi, when he came to town, he was asked, "Yeah, do you know about the 7? You know about the history of it?" And Jared, he knew about the history of the 7 dating back to his previous employer. He knows all about the importance of numbers and jerseys and things like that.
Yeah, Gigi has wanted the smoke everywhere he's been. He took the 7 at Celtic, which Henrik Larsson wore. Henrik Larsson being probably the greatest modern player in Celtic history. Mm-hmm. And he wanted that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And he came here and he took that 7 and he wanted that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yorgos Yakimakis is not afraid of it.
No.
And I don't think he's afraid of the leadership. And this is the thing about it, is like, I know people are talking about putting the C on his chest. I don't think he needs the C. Like, give it to him if you want to. Not every leader has that emblem on their chest.
True.
You don't have to have it. If you want to give it to him, cool. I know a lot of people like to put that C on like a defensive midfielder or a defender or somebody at the back who can be a part of that spine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to give it to him, cool. But like, for me, his effect on this team is not dependent on the C across somebody's chest. He's just about that life.
Yeah,
which is good. You need that.
Yes. Hutch with the question. Silly goals has been a recurring theme this season. How do we stop that going forward?
That's a great question.
That's a gazillion-dollar question.
That's also that's all. And you know what? You're about to face a team that is going to ask a not identical but a similar question, because Columbus has given up a lot of goals in the last 10 minutes of games. Did it against Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Did it twice against Orlando a couple weeks before that. Columbus gives up a lot of late goals.
Yep.
Columbus has had a lot of trouble closing games out. One of the things that they've benefited from in 2023 has been the fact that they've racked up multiple goal leads, which makes it a little bit easier on them. But if they have a lead of a single goal and it is under 15 minutes to play, Columbus is going to ask those questions too. This is the thing that I always like to complain about in professional sports in general is we do this thing where like we worry that we're the only ones with problems. Because Columbus has those problems. I still think Cincinnati, I still give them a little bit of a side eye just because Cincinnati likes to fall behind and they like to rescue things. And it's tough to do in the playoffs. As far as Atlanta cleaning up like silly goals, I don't know, man. You're asking guys to put together a great performance, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You're asking Miles Robinson, who's been pretty good this year. Hey, I need you to not be pretty good. I need you to be outstanding.
Yeah.
I don't need the inconsistency where occasionally Miles Robinson kind of drifts off. You can't have that in the playoffs. Everyone has to lock down mentally and emotionally and get ready for this game.
Yep, absolutely.
So I need everybody. I need all hands on deck. I need everybody locked in. Get your ass in gear.
Yep. Ricky, if teams win the first weekend of November in Game 2, they won't play again until the last weekend of November.
Yeah, this is one of my questions about this is, like I said, if a team wins this in 2 games and the team they are playing against has to go for all 3 games, how does this shake out? How does this whole thing look? 'Tis my question. And do we get modifications next year if, like, we find out, oh, man, so-and-so had to sit for longer and they came back a little bit rusty?
Yep. Programming question from Michael Head. Does MLS and Apple really think having games each night is going to draw in neutrals and non-fans at the inconvenience of the actual fans and ticket buyers?
I don't know. I mean, somebody's looking at numbers about this, and they do this for a living, and they're not me. I can't say for sure, although I understand your apprehension about it.
Yeah.
I just don't know the answer to it.
Yeah. Michael says that Gigi should take PKs next season. Almada has not been fantastic at them. I think that they may split duties and things like that.
Maybe.
Just go by feel. I think that
usually it's just like I think it's always like kind of like there's a designated guy, but that designated guy has right of first refusal, basically, is what it is.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah, where, Jamie Tart goes up and he takes the penalty kicks for AFC Richmond. Then he turns and he goes, "You got this, muchacho," and hands the ball to Danny Rojas. That's what it would be. It's like you have your designated dude, and if he wants to surrender the idea.
And see, the thing is, I don't know how I'm trying to think back. Gigi was, I think, okay at penalties at Glasgow Celtic. He didn't take them a ton. Which, funnily enough, one of the guys who took penalties a lot at Celtic was Josip Juranovic, who is actually a right back by trade. So I don't know how comfortable he is doing it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I think he put his away in the League Cup when they did the League Cup shootout in the end of the second game. I'm pretty sure he took a penalty. But I don't know how comfortable he will be. We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly right. Because Michael says he doesn't quite see MLS playoffs on Apple the same as a hit series. The Messi crowd is not tuning in for Charlotte and New Jersey. And 4Card says if you go 2 legs each matchup, you have more episodes. You're guaranteed more episodes without question.
No, and I agree. I'm of the belief that like I want 2 legs.
Yeah.
I don't want this 1 leg. I don't want it. Give me 2 legs.
I mean, that's literally. I mean, that's
you're flooding us with games, and then you're gonna just stop.
Yeah.
No, stop! Don't do that, please. Begging you.
Yeah. Alex with San Diego says they could have used the styled S everyone used to draw in middle school, and it would have shown more creativity.
Oh man, way to bring it back. We don't even know what we were doing. For all I
Yeah.
know, we were summoning some chaos demon that's responsible for the year 2016.
Yeah.
Or 2020.
Or the old Savannah Cardinals logo with the S and the pirate hat. You take that S and you do that for San Diego. I think that'd be
No, it's got to be the stylized weird ass S that we all drew in school when we were bored in class. That's what it has to be.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the only thing I will accept.
The stylized S. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and Hutch reminds us once again, Gigi, you will know how to spell my name before the end of the season.
Everyone knows how to spell his name now. That part's true. I mean, yes. So that's where we are. Gaza. Oh, actually, MLS came out with their numbers for attendance this year. Drew just under 11 million fans. I'll get the number right. 10,900,804 for an average of 22,111, both new league records. I feel like Bob Carnegie. A new league record. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Broke the record of 22,106 set in 2017. So 5 more fans sat in seats on average, and you broke the record for butts in seats. It was a 6-year-old record. Up 5.1% from the 2022 average of 21,033. Second year in a row, MLS has drawn more than 10 million fans. Notes. Inter Miami became the first MLS team to average more than 30,000 fans a game on the road with an average of 30,834. 6 away games with Messi, 45,764. He played in half of them. Of the 28 returning teams, 21 enjoyed attendance increases, 8 with increases of more than 10%. Inter Miami led all teams with an increase of 40%. And it's amazing what happens when you also put in temporary bleachers in your corners to boost up your capacity. That was not in the copy that was released by the league, by the way. Despite the return to the playoffs with one of MLS's most exciting teams, once again, this is Major League Soccer, Houston finished last in attendance with an average of only 15,029 for a drop of 8.5%. The highest of the 6 teams that had attendance decreases. Austin FC averaged 27,38 for the 3rd year in a row, selling out every game at Q2 Stadium. It is still too small. Atlanta United again led MLS in attendance with an average of 47,526, continuing their streak of having led Major League Soccer in attendance in all of its 6 seasons in the league with a full season of play. 7 games drew more than 60,000, including the standalone MLS record of 82,110 for July 4th's El Tráfico at the Rose Bowl. MLS record 14 teams averaged more than 20,000 a match. Of Europe's big 5 leagues, only the Premier League and the Bundesliga have more teams with averages of more than 20,000 in 22-23, and that's 18 teams each, basically the entire league. So, all right, so Jarrett, let's do this. We know Atlanta United's number 1. Who's number 2? Have you seen this list, by the way? No, I have not.
Okay, so who's number 2?
Did you ask me who's number 2 in attendance?
Who's number 2 in average attendance?
Charlotte?
Correct. 36,337. Who's number 3?
Seattle?
Very good. 3 for 3. 32,161. It is down about 1,000, down 1,500 year to year. Who's number 4?
Nashville?
Correct. You and Michael both guessed that. 28,257. That is an increase of about 700 fans. Who's number 5?
Oh, my God. I can't keep this going.
It's the last one at the top. We'll go to the bottom.
LAFC?
LAFC is number 11 at 22,155, and that's just because of the size of the building. Cincinnati and TQL is up top at number 5. Increase of just under 3,000 a game at 25,367. All right, so we know who the bottom one is. Houston at 15,029. Who's 28th? Who's next to last? All caps, by the way, is number 10, Michael, at 22,23.
Next to last, Galaxy?
LAG is number 7, actually, at 24,106. Let's put it this way: you've been to this stage this year.
Okay, well, I know who you're talking about. I thought they would be dead last.
Well, that's close. They were 381 away from being
Colorado being the answer, y'all.
Yes, 15,409. So then 27th out of 29 is whom? Red Bulls are 23rd of 29, Michael, and NYC is 15.
Very good guess, though.
Yes, all caps number 10, by the way.
Yeah, you said that.
Yep.
Dallas?
Dallas is 21st at 18,220.
Congratulations to the Atlanta Hawks of attendance.
Vancouver is 27th at 16,745, and
I didn't even think about that because I was thinking RSL.
RSL is 17th at 19,429.
Yeah.
26th is DC
Chicago.
United. Chicago is 22nd at 18,170.
Okay.
26th is DC United. 25th is CF Montreal at 17,552. Inter Miami was 12,637 last year. They're up 5,061 seats on average because of some.
Yeah, but if you make a bar graph of the progress of Miami, that thing's going to look like an escalator or an elevator. It's going to escalate and then it's going to go straight the hell up.
Yes, absolutely it is. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo on what to watch before we go. Tottenham and Fulham is at 3 on the USA Network. It is also on Universo. And that's your Monday Night Football overseas. ESPN Deportes has Valencia and Cadiz at 3. Fox Deportes has Serie B, Palermo and Spezia at 2:30. Gold TV, Uruguayan Primera at 7:15. Nacional and Deportivo Maldonado. If you don't have Gold TV, if you don't have TIC, you don't have For the Fans, you don't have CDO, you don't have BN, there's one place you can go. It's Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps them out, helps us out, helps you out with all of your sickos energy that you have for all of the worldwide game. ESPN Plus has Valencia and Cadiz at 3. They've got 7 matches on the women's side in college. Fox Soccer Plus has your Serie B matchup as well. Paramount Plus is very, very busy with the AFC Asian Champions League. AMGK and Sepahan is halfway home. They've got 3 matches at noon. They've got 2 at 2 o'clock, including Mumbai City, who we have followed on soccer over there in the past. Argentine Primera on Paramount Plus at 6 and 8. Estudiantes and Sarmiento, Vélez Sarsfield and Bonfield at 8. Serie A doubleheader, Udinese Lecce at 12:30, Fiorentina and Empoli at 2:45 with another golden ticket, OG and Poppy Miller. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we go. And once again, we'll talk about all this stuff tomorrow. We'll keep going, and we'll talk about other things, whatever's on your mind on your Tuesday. Arsenal looking to make a move for Fluminense midfielder Andre in the January transfer window. Manchester City exploring a potential deal for Bayern Munich midfielder Jamal Musiala, with Liverpool also in the queue. Messi is not considering a loan move from now until the new MLS season starts in February, despite his links to Barca. That's from Fabrizio Romano, so that means he'll be on the tour of China. Joseph Martinez is not. Joseph did not make the trip for the final match of the year and is not making the trip overseas. Tata Martino said after the match that Joseph is not a part of their plans going forward. This opens the door for Luis Suarez to show up, or Luka Modric, or both. Chelsea continuing to keep a watching brief on Victor Osimhen, and Napoli, despite rumors of a move to Liverpool, signing a central midfielder, a top priority for Newcastle, with Sandro Tonali, part of the investigation into illegal betting. I would say that would be a priority, yes. Liverpool have been scouting Sporting Lisbon defender Gonzalo Ignacio as they look to beat Manchester United to a deal. Arsenal hoping to sell Thomas Partey and Jorginho as they look to bring in Andre. Bayern Munich and Alphonso Davies will cost Real Madrid at least £40 million if they want to sign him, according to Bild. Luton will have to pay at least $5.5 million for 19-year-old midfielder Oscar Zambrano from LDU Quito, holding out for the best offer. That's from the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Rangers would want offers of at least $5 million to sell their English goalkeeper Jack Butland. Former Spurs defender CCV is in no rush to head back to the Prem, with the American, who's currently at Celtic, continuing to generate transfer talk. Kevin De Bruyne may not be offered a contract renewal at Manchester City if his injury record worsens, and Fluminense preparing a move for Thiago Silva amid speculation the 39-year-old Brazilian will leave Stamford Bridge at the end of the season. That is your gossip, rumor, and innuendo for the day. Yikes. That's a lot.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it, about, people putting in the ideas of where does Joseph go? Because I don't know the answer to that.
No. He's gonna want to get paid. Teams are not going to want to pay him.
He's going to want to get paid, and that's fine. But at this point, I could see him getting a TAM deal somewhere. I don't think he's going to get DP money if that's what he's looking for.
That's what I'm sure he's looking for.
We'll see.
Yes. Nashville Soccer Club has introduced Treble Trouble as a new mascot in partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Middle Tennessee.
Wait, as opposed to, is the coyote dead?
No, I think this is in addition to said coyote.
How many mascots do you need? The coyote's great. Let's leave the coyote.
In collaboration with Make-A-Wish, Middle Tennessee introduced this past weekend the addition of Treble Trouble as the sidekick to Tempo the Coyote. Originating from the vicinity of Geodis Park, Treble, a spirited coyote, became an avid observer of Nashville SC games following the grand opening of the largest soccer-specific stadium on May 1st, 2022. Since then, his howls have echoed with enthusiasm the chants from the Backline Supporters Collective during the Nashville SC matches, making his lifelong goal clear, becoming the best soccer player in the entire animal kingdom. So Treble Trouble is now a sidekick for Tempo the Coyote.
This sounds like a future bad guy in a Pitch Perfect spinoff.
Well, or is this the tag team partner? This is MJF and Adam Cole. That's what this is. You're waiting for one to turn heel on the other to try to become the number one focus.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for
this is all of it is unnecessary. Everything you've done here is unnecessary.
Treble is going to do a heel turn on Tempo, and it's not going to be pretty. You're going to split the Nashville.
Luchasaurus would never.
Absolutely. He'll be there with Christian Cage for the entire time. Thanks to Will Palaszczuk, for hanging out with us to break down a piece of history for Charlotte. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us on a Reaction Monday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow once again as the week goes. USL Championship programming. We'll have our USL show, guys, on Thursday at 10. USL League One programming will be up. MLS Next Pro. We'll take a peek at how Los Verdos won the championship. That'll be up tomorrow. Let's see. Other interviews and stuff.
Charlie Asensio was on that title team, by the way. United Academy legend, and won a title at Clemson, I believe.
That is true. Ian Cameron, will have him for a 1v1 to discuss the season for South Georgia Tormenta. That'll be taped on Wednesday and out Wednesday afternoon. We're also chasing a lot of other folks and getting their thoughts as postmortems as seasons come to the close in USL Championship and League One. And so it'll be your standard busy week, and we'll go through Thunderdome and get you prepared for that in the midweek as well. So, Jarrett, since you've been here the entire show today.
Yeah, I know. Don't get used to it.
No, I mean, I'm glad to have you for the entire show. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, no problem.
So, since you're here, go ahead and send us home.
Mucha plata, y'all.
What he said, 9:05 in the morning. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye.